Nightfall settled over the sprawling metropolis like a velvet blanket speckled with electric lights. Beneath towering skyscrapers and flickering neon signs, the streets pulsed with secret magic. Whether a person sensed it or not, the city brimmed with hidden forces that clashed and converged in the shadows. None of these forces, however, was as intriguing or as elusive as the legendary Black Cat. In hushed barroom mutterings and whispered confessions at midnight, people swore the cat brought luck to those who met it. Of course, there was another side to such tales. The Black Cat was also sought by shadowy figures armed with ancient spells and arcane ambitions. Whenever the moon hung low in the sky, somewhere in those labyrinthine streets, the chase began anew. Lily Samwell first heard of the cat when she was 7. The old caretaker of her orphanage, Miss Danvers, often spoke of extraordinary mysteries in the city, painting pictures of haunted alleys and supernatural creatures. Whenever Lily had trouble sleeping in those early years, she would wander to the caretaker's small office, a space crammed with dusty tomes and odd trinkets. Atop a rickety stool, Lily would listen as Miss Danvers recounted legends of a regal black cat that wove luck into people's lives, guiding them away from peril just in time or nudging them toward a hidden opportunity. Yet for every story of benevolent luck, there was another about relentless pursuers, practitioners of the dark arts who hoped to harness the cat's unnatural gifts for their own gain. As an adult, Lily hadn't outgrown her fascination with the uncanny. She worked as an investigative blogger, writing articles about urban myths. Over time, she came to suspect the city itself was alive and breathing, humming with energies no scientific instrument could measure. She devoted herself to uncovering the heart of those mysteries. Each new lead propelled her into forgotten corners, abandoned subway tunnels cloaked in gloom, condemned warehouses that creaked with residual magic, and time-worn libraries whose basement archives held improbable secrets. Time and again, the Black Cat surfaced in these investigations with tantalizing hints, a shape glimpsed at the edge of a photograph, a fleeting reflection in a puddle. One night, Lily found herself in an obscure library near the city's oldest district, following up on a lead about the cat's origin. The library was known only to a small community of esoteric researchers, and its collection spanned everything from shape-shifting spells to rumored doorways to other dimensions. The single librarian on duty, a stooped woman in a threadbare shawl, spoke in careful whispers laced with something like reverence. She directed Lily to an archaic text describing the Cat of Fortune, complete with ominous references to the Council of Sorcerers who once waged war over it centuries ago. Lily learned that these sorcerers believed capturing the cat would grant them unimaginable prowess. Intrigued, Lily continued digging, flipping brittle pages until she found a passage that made her pause. Should the cat place its paw upon you, destiny's favor shall mark your soul, though the gift will attract covetous hearts drawn to its light. The text went on to caution that any attempt to force the cat's hand would result in ruin. This contradictory promise of power and danger was typical of the mystical underpinnings Lily so often encountered, yet the thought of sorcerers in the modern city still felt wildly surreal. Did such groups persist in secret, passing down their spells from generation to generation? Later that night, as Lily exited the library, the stale air of the reading rooms gave way to chilled midnight wind. She found herself lingering on the deserted street. Crisp leaves rustled along the pavement, a street lamp flickered overhead, casting fleeting patterns of light and shadow. It was there, beneath that sputtering lamp, she caught a hint of movement. Sleek, lithe, and almost soundless. Heart quickening, Lily squinted. A cat stood perched on a stoop across the street, fur a glossy black that merged seamlessly with the nighttime gloom. Its eyes, yellow, like shards of glowing topaz, met Lily's gaze unflinchingly. The city's normal background, humcar engines, distant horns, and snippets of conversation seemed to recede, as though a bubble of silence had encased them both. She had to force herself to breathe. For a few charged moments, Lily felt as though fate itself perched there beside that stoop. Then, without warning, The cat jumped off the step and dashed into a nearby alley with liquid grace. Lily sprinted after it, excitement surging in her veins. The alley was narrow and poorly lit, cluttered with garbage cans and missing sections of pavement. Yet, impossibly, Lily caught another glimpse of the cat at the far end, as if it were waiting for her. She dodged trash bags and hopped over cracked concrete, her heart pounding. A sense of wonder overcame her exhaustion. However, by the time she reached the other side of the alley, the cat had zipped around another corner. Lily followed, weaving through labyrinthine back streets until she skidded into a courtyard of boarded-up apartments. She halted there, chest heaving, scanning the nooks and shadows. No sign of the cat. Just as she turned reluctantly back toward the main street, she heard a faint meow. Pivoting, she saw the sleek shape had pressed itself against a battered metal door leading to the basement of one of the old buildings. With a tentative approach, Lily tugged on the handle. The door stuck, rusted shut, until she forced it open with a screech of protesting metal. A drizzle of light spilled into the basement's gloom. The cat darted inside as though it had done so 100 times before. Lily hesitated briefly. Who knew what lurked below? Yet her curiosity eclipsed her caution. She grabbed her phone, activated its flashlight and stepped in. The basement smelled of damp concrete and decaying wood. Mold festered on the walls and old furniture lay broken in haphazard piles. A dusty hallway led beyond her meager light. The black cat stayed close, guiding Lily with patient strides, periodically glancing back to ensure she followed. Eventually, it stopped before a door that looked sturdier than the rest, its dark, unmarked surface battered but intact. With one paw, the cat gently tapped at the base of the door, issuing a quiet murl. Lily's pulse fluttered. She knelt down, pushing her phone's flashlight across the frame. Strange symbols were etched near the handle, intricate spirals and sigils that her eyes could barely track. She recognized them from her extensive reading. Wards. Some type of magical lock designed to guard whatever lay inside. Her fingertips trembled as she traced the symbols, uncertain if opening the door was even possible. She wasn't a sorcerer, but she had encountered a handful of magical runes in her past investigative exploits. Carefully, she tested different ways to interact with them, pressing in patterns or using a gentle clockwise motion. For minutes, nothing happened. Then she felt a faint, magical sizzle beneath her fingertips. One by one, the strange etchings pulsed with a muted low. A soft click resonated from within the lock. Lily bit her lip, pressed forward, and the door swung inward. The cat slipped right through, tail high and confident. Bracing herself, Lily shone her light into the hidden chamber. Inside, stacked shelves burst with antiquated scrolls, weathered books, crystal orbs, and an assortment of jars containing who knew what. It was a secret workshop. In the center of the room stood a table topped with half-drawn diagrams of arcane circles. An acrid smell of burned incense lingered in the air. Lily realized she had stumbled upon the domain of someone who practiced real magic, and it didn't look benevolent. Perhaps it was a sorcerer's lair. A wave of excitement mingled with dread. The presence of the black cat at her side felt both reassuring and otherworldly. She moved slowly, scanning the shelves for clues. Leather-bound tomes with cryptic titles lined a row. The Book of Convergence, Essences of the Celestial Substrate, and the Thrice-Bound Key. Stiff pages bristled with incantations and astrological charts. Another shelf displayed flickering liquid in glass vials, each swirling with faint glimmers of color. The luminous substances were arranged meticulously, perhaps signifying the specialties of whoever worked here. The cat jumped onto the table, scattering some of the diagrams. Its gaze landed on a jade amulet in an open wooden box, set at the very center of a drawn circle. Lily picked up the amulet carefully. It was heavier than it looked, carved with intricate lines forming what appeared to be runic letters. An uneasy sensation coursed up her arm. The amulet radiated a subtle, pulsing warmth. Before she could investigate further, footsteps echoed from the hallway. Lily's stomach churned. She hurriedly stashed the amulet in her jacket pocket, then shoved herself against a shadowed corner of the workshop. The cat jumped down, tail flicking in alarm. Light poured in from the open door as 3 figures entered. One tall and gaunt, the others shorter, robed in dark attire. On their sleeves were embroidered black cat silhouettes, circled by a ring of arcane symbols. "We trace it here," muttered the gaunt figure, suspicion etched into his tone. "The wards have been broken." A chill passed through Lily. These people were obviously part of that dreaded group Miss Danvers had once warned about, or at least they served the same role, hunters of the black cat's power. She watched as they scattered, testing surfaces frantically. One of them picked up a jar, swirling the contents. Another bent to examine the circle on the table. "Someone took the amulet," the tallest hissed. His voice rang with anger. "We must find it. If the Cat of Fortune remains uncaptured, we'll need every advantage." The shorter figures nodded, their posture tense. A quick spell or incantation might reveal Lily's hiding spot any second. She felt cornered, adrenaline racing. The cat crouched at her feet, quietly watching. Then, with unspoken urgency, it streaked out of the room and back down the hallway. The tall figure snarled. "It's here somewhere," as the group lurched after it. Lily seized her chance. The cat was luring them away, giving her a precious moment to escape. She moved swiftly, slipping down the hall in the opposite direction. Her heart hammered as she reached the basement door, forced it open and stumbled back into the courtyard. Above her, the moon glowed like a pale lantern. She paused to catch her breath and realized the cat was nowhere in sight. She could only hope it remained safe, agile enough to avoid the sorcerers. The next few days, Lily lived with one eye on her surroundings. The amulet's presence weighed in her pocket. She deliberated constantly. Should she turn it over to some authority, seal it away where no one could find it? The knowledge burned at her night and day. She read everything she could about cat-themed runes and mystical amulets, researching old archives and contacting obscure experts. One lead guided her to a small hidden antique shop known to deal in arcane artifacts. Its proprietor, a reserved older man named Marcus Gray, was rumored to have dabbled in hermetic practices. If anyone could identify the amulet, it might be him. After arriving at the shop, Lily stepped through the door to the tinkle of a small bell overhead. The cramped interior smelled of varnished wood and centuries-old dust. Shelves overflowed with tarnished mirrors, battered books, and dilapidated wooden boxes. Marcus stood behind a glass display case filled with mislabeled crystals and metallic curios. Beneath a mane of silver hair, his eyes sparkled with a knowledge that made Lily's skin prickle. "I take it you're looking for something special?" he asked quietly, as if the question carried multiple layers. "Yes," Lily replied, pulling the jade amulet from her pocket. She set it carefully on the counter. "I need information about this piece. Can you analyze it?" At the sight of the amulet, Marcus's expression froze. Deep lines carved across his brow as he lifted the trinket with careful hands. He closed his eyes, breathing steadily, as though performing a silent incantation. Then came a hushed exhale. "This is a bonding amulet," he said at last. "Specifically created to link one's essence with a conduit of mystical fortune, perhaps the very cat you're chasing. If used correctly, it can siphon off the cat's luck, twisting it for the wearer's benefit. When the cat is close, the amulet draws its energy." A tremor passed through Lily. She realized it must be exactly what the sorcerers wanted. But why? "Why doesn't it just steal the luck outright?" she asked, recalling the text about forcing the cat resulting in ruin. Marcus's gaze dropped to the scratched countertop. "Because that kind of magic is precarious. The cat's essence is powerful and, more importantly, free-willed. Trying to forcibly harness it often ends in disaster for both the cat and the would-be captor. More cunning practitioners, however, attempt partial bonding. It grants them greater prosperity, success in their spells, and possibly hints at future events. Their lives become a tapestry of small miracles. Yet if the cat is unwilling, the backlash can be catastrophic. At that moment, the bell tinkled again, and Lily tensed. 2 unfamiliar customers ambled in. A stooped woman and a middle-aged man wearing sunglasses indoors. Their movements felt off, as though they were scanning every inch of the shop. Lily suspected they might be part of the same group who owned the basement lair. Marcus seemed to sense it too. He shot Lily a meaningful glance and placed the amulet back in her hair. Holding her breath, Lily slipped it into her pocket and stepped behind a taller stack of boxes. The newcomers approached the counter, and Lily strained to hear their hushed conversation. "Do you have any artifacts from the Cat of Fortune's legacy?" the woman asked, her voice measured. "We collect many items," Marcus replied with deliberate casualness. "But I'd need more specifics." "We were told you handle unique relics," the man cut in, removing his sunglasses. His eyes glowed with unnatural intensity. "Particularly those linked to powerful creatures." A tension charged the air. Marcus shook his head slowly, feigning ignorance while the woman's eyes scanned the store as though seeking a small jade amulet or the faint shimmer of magical residue. Lily held her breath. The mood thickened, and the city's static hum seeped into that cramped space. After a terse exchange, the two left empty-handed, but not before tossing a final suspicious glance at Marcus. The moment the door swung closed, Lily slumped in relief. Marcus turned to her, expression grim. "They'll be back," he warned softly. "And that amulet in your pocket might as well be a beacon. You must keep it hidden, or they'll trace it." Lily frowned. "Then what do I do with it?" Marcus paused as if weighing her character. "I've spent my life studying these arts. If the cat is truly the city's guardian, as many legends claim, the best way to protect it is to return the amulet to its rightful place so that no one can exploit it. You must find the cat and secure its collaboration, or at the very least, release the cat from the amulet's tether. Otherwise, those people will keep searching and their magic will eventually track you down." With that sobering charge, Lily left, stepping into the bustling sidewalk crowd. A fresh wave of determination spurred her onward. She refused to let the cat's magic be corrupted, yet fear still coiled in her chest. Where to begin? The city's nightscape suddenly felt both familiar and ominous. Every ripple of wind or flicker of streetlight perhaps hinting at the cat's presence, or a sorcerer's lurking vantage. For hours, she combed through back alleys and rooftops, places rumored to be cat haunts. She had a hunch that when the time was right, the cat would appear. Her gut told her it was watching from somewhere, evaluating her intentions. She hopped a bus to the old district, weaving her way from decrepit side streets to hidden gardens behind abandoned buildings. Night deepened and a cold drizzle set in, turning the pavement slick with watery reflections of neon signs. Just as she contemplated calling it quits, she spotted a lithe, dark silhouette slip across the rooftop above the old stone church near the district's border. Clutching the amulet in her pocket, Lily dashed forward. Beneath an awning, she found a rusted fire escape leading up the side of a neighboring structure. She climbed carefully, rain pattering around her. The metal groaned beneath her steps. Soon she emerged onto the roof, wind tugging at her damp hair. There, perched on a ledge, sat the black cat. Its eyes gleamed with ancient wisdom. Lily's breath caught. Those luminous irises flicked to her pocket, as though the cat sensed the amulet's presence. She approached slowly. "I don't want to use it," she whispered, holding up both hands. "But others will. Help me figure out how to destroy or sever it, and I'll do my best to keep them away from you." A moment of silence passed. Rain dripped from the cat's whiskers. Then, as though acknowledging her plea, it gracefully leapt down from the ledge and approached. Lily sank to her knees, retrieving the amulet. The cat blinked, reaching out a paw and touching it lightly. At that contact, Lily gasped as a ripple of energy surged through her. She glimpsed visions, potential futures where the city's skyline fractured under arcane conflict, or roads glimmered with opportunity and safety. She saw herself running from robed figures under a sickly orange moon. She saw the cat standing at her side, an ally in the darkness. When the visions cleared, Lily found the cat curled beside her, gaze unwavering. Determined, she gently placed the amulet on the roof's surface. She recalled bits of runic knowledge from the hidden library and from Miss Danvers's bedtime stories. If the amulet was designed to bond with the cat, perhaps it could be negated by reversing the incantation. On a whim, she traced a circle around the amulet, focusing on the raw intent, freeing the cat from this parasitic link. She murmured words gleaned from countless folk tales and partial grimoires. Return to shadow. Remain unbound. By my free will, relinquish this claim. Initially, she felt foolish, but the air around her seemed to hum in response. The cat settled on the circle's edge, tail flicking in slow arcs, as if encouraging her. Lily pressed her palm to the amulet. With every syllable, a faint glow emanated from the jade surface. Her voice became clear and resolute. No chain shall hold you to mortal hands. Suddenly, the amulet's glow pulsed bright, forcing Lily to shut her eyes. A roar of wind buffeted them, swirling water droplets around in a vortex of shimmering lights. She felt the cat's presence as a gentle warmth. Then, just as quickly, the glow faded, and the rooftop went quiet except for the steady patter of rain. In her palm, the amulet cracked neatly in two. The once warm jade was now a dull green stone, devoid of any magical aura. Relief flooded Lily. She let out a shaky laugh, glancing at the cat to ensure it was unharmed. It stepped closer, rubbed its cheek against her arm, and purred softly, almost in gratitude. She realized that any residual bond had broken. The cat was free. Yet a single worry persisted. What of the sorcerers who still hunted it? No sooner had she finished that thought than a brilliant flash tore across the sky. She turned sharply to see a rift of light streak across a neighboring rooftop. 3 robed figures appeared in the afterimage, the same ones she had encountered in the basement. One extended an open hand, conjuring swirling orbs of dark violet energy. Another's eyes glowed white with pent-up power. Their expressions were anything but kind. The cat hissed, and Lily's heart pounded. You meddle in forces beyond your comprehension, the tall one snarled, stepping forward. Surrender the cat, or suffer the consequences. They wasted no time, hurling blasts of arcane energy. Lily dove behind a concrete outcropping, narrowly avoiding a sizzling sphere that left a singed crater in the rooftop. The cat spun away, graceful even in that chaos. With a measured leap, it scrambled to another ledge. Lily's mind raced. The amulet was broken, so the direct route to controlling the cat was gone, yet their dark magic still posed a threat. Another flash of eerie light crackled overhead. Lily scrambled along the roof, searching for any advantage. She found a loose metal pipe near an old ventilation unit. Without pausing to think, she grasped it and swung it through the air as one of the robed figures approached. He sneered but stepped back, summoning a swirling force that whiffed just past Lily, ruffling her jacket. A direct hit would be lethal, she realized. The cat, from its new vantage, let out a sharp yowl that seemed to vibrate with an uncanny intensity. The robed figures staggered, as if the sound itself struck them. Lily seized the opening, lunging forward to knock a second figure off balance. Rain slicked everything, making each movement precarious. Another arcane blast crackled past, searing the edges of Lily's jacket. She bit back a frightened scream, adrenaline flooding her body. Snarling, the tall sorcerer launched a final, concentrated bolt of energy. Lily braced for impact, but in that heartbeat, the black cat leapt forward, intercepting the volley with an elegant bound. Whether its presence or some vestige of luck skewed the sorcerer's aim, the blast ricocheted off a nearby ventilation shaft, causing a dazzling explosion of amber sparks. The rooftop trembled, and a chunk of concrete collapsed beneath the sorcerers, sending them stumbling to a lower level. Their enraged shouts echoed, then faded. In the aftermath, Lily sagged, chest tight, her hair damp with rain. She crawled over to where the cat landed gracefully. Among the lingering wisps of magic, they caught each other's gaze. It let out a soft huff, as though saying, "We're not safe yet." Lily understood. The cat would forever be hunted by those who sought fortune unfairly. But at least the amulet was destroyed, and the cat was no longer forcibly linked to mortal greed. She stood, mind spinning with the realization that she had traversed a whole new threshold. The city's mystical underbelly had opened itself to her in ways she had never felt before. The black cat met her eyes again. It seemed to beckon, another invitation, another journey. Lily wondered what might lie ahead for her, now that she had not only witnessed real sorcery, but also thwarted it, if only for a moment. Perhaps the cat would continue roaming the night, dispensing fleeting moments of good fortune like a silent benefactor. Perhaps it might appear in Lily's life from time to time, a perpetual reminder of what she'd experienced. But tonight, at least, they had carved out a small victory. Lily exhaled a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. With a thankful smile, she reached out, ever so gently, stroking the cat's glossy fur. It pressed close, radiating warmth in the cold drizzle. Then, almost imperceptibly, it slipped away, bounding across the rooftops. For a few moments, Lily watched its shadowy form gradually vanish into the labyrinth of skyscrapers and neon lights. She stayed on that rooftop until dawn threatened to break, unraveling the darkness and painting the horizon with a shy grey light. Rain tapered to a mist before halting entirely. Lily's clothes and nerves were thoroughly soaked, but beneath her fatigue and the sting of near-death, she felt a surge of renewed purpose. Holding the two broken halves of the jade amulet in her palm, she recalled the story she had grown up with, the persistent rumors she had chased. They had led her to this place, forging an unspoken pact with the city's elusive guardian. From this night onward, she resolved to guard the black cat's secrets, to ensure those hungry for power never again bounded to their schemes. The memory of the cat's bright eyes and the warmth of its fur would stay with her, the intangible gift of luck it bestowed upon those who truly cared, free of exploitation. And as Lily descended the rusted fire escape, stepping back into the throbbing heart of the city, she carried that promise with her. The city was filled with hidden wonders and dangers, but for the first time, she felt truly a part of its grand and mystical tapestry. She might never see the cat again, or it might return the very next evening. Either way, she would be ready.